Okay, can you imagine, just imagine,
Mhm.
just imagine as much as you love our boys,
Mhm.
you have carried them for 9 months and you birthed them and brought them home.
Mhm.
Imagine if we brought them home, loved on them, now they 2 and 3, and we look at them and we say, "You only got 6 months left to stay here before you gotta go live somewhere else."
Ooh,
Imagine if our dynamic was only temporary.
that would be horrible for them. For me.
For them, for everybody, it would be tough. You
Yeah.
know, that's a reality for a lot of people though, because we talk about blending all the time. When we talk about blending, we come from a divorcee, remarried, blended situation. But there are millions of people out there that are parts of foster families,
Wow.
adopted
Yeah.
families, things of that sort, where there's no guarantee
Mhm.
of how long, especially in the foster situation, of how long
Mhm.
that might be the case. It almost seems temporary,
Like you got a shelf life.
kinda,
Dang.
and, I think that, that's a real thing that we should talk about.
All right, let's do it.
Let's dig into it today. Like, subscribe, share. My dope blend, we ready to talk.
Let's do it. That's crazy. Wait. So I guess in foster care, you are, you can be with a family for weeks, months, or years, and then without
Yeah.
like a month's notice or whatever, you can then be taken away and go to another family. Is it
Well,
works like
in
that?
some cases, I remember that, when the girls were young, I worked as a behavior aide. I never worked directly for
Okay.
DFACS, Department of Family and Children Services. I never worked directly for them,
Mhm.
but I worked for service providers for DFACS.
Okay.
And I was a behavior aide for a service providing company for DFACS. And I remember that I would take a lot of the kids to their foster homes. Sometimes the kids would act up or get in trouble, or sometimes the foster parent might not be happy with something that the child did, and they will go on what they call respite, meaning that you might go stay at another foster home for a few days or for a week or something like that, then come back. Uh, I remember that there was a dynamic where there was a foster parent. It was almost like all of the kids had at some point in time rotated amongst the different foster
Yeah. Who?
parents. No, like, I remember that. Like, there was a set of foster parents that I remember we would pick up the kids from, take them home to after school, things of that sort, or pick them up from to take them to school. There was a mm, almost like I don't know how to say it, but all of the kids had at some point in time been at
In each house.
yeah, with
That's
each foster parent. Um, and it happens often. Then you have some situations that are the flip side of that. They are good situations where a child that's in foster care might get placed at a foster home and they fall in love with the foster parent, and the foster parent falls in love with the child,
mm,
but then the biological parent comes along. Maybe the child was only meant to be in foster care for a certain amount of time because of a penalty that the biological parent had to face. Maybe they were in jail. Maybe they had gotten into a situation where somebody had called Child Protective Services on them, and they came in and took the kids away for a certain amount of time. So the kids only stayed in foster care for a certain amount of time. It was all like a temporary thing.
yeah, and I get what you're saying because I saw a post on Instagram one time about I guess parent or I don't know if they were the foster parent. I don't know, but they were saying that I had to rehome the kid. They're not a dog, like rehome. Like what are you talking about? Like, you don't just take a child, bring them into your home and say, "Oh, it's not working. You go to another home." What are you talking about? That is ridiculous.
And at that time, I can't say that that's the same case in 2026, but I remember at that time, and we're talking now, that was 2007, 2006, 2000 something, you know what I'm saying? Somewhere between
I'm sure it's
probably
still the
2004
same.
and
It's just
2007.
on a different level.
But I'm saying at that time, the stigma was that most of the people who were foster parents were only doing it because you got a check.
Right.
There was money that came from the state to be a foster parent.
That's ridiculous.
And so there were, not to say that all of them, and again, I'm not to say that this is current. That might not be the case now. But at that time, the stigma was that a lot of the foster parents were in it for the check. How many children that you had in the house, you got a check per child. And it was a come up. It was a money grab, you know what I'm saying? Because you got money to be a foster home for some
But
of these children.
what type of impact does that do? What does that do for that child?
Well, I think that is the thing that needs to be discussed, because I saw it wasn't necessarily about fostering, but it was about adoption.
Yeah.
And there was a woman who was on social media and to be honest with you, I sent it to you.
You did. I do.
because
That was
it
good.
struck
That
me
was real good.
because she was basically saying that everybody has this, oh, you should be blessed that you were adopted.
That
You know,
someone
you should
chose
be-
you.
You should
like
be
you a
grateful
dog.
that, you found a good home, and that you landed in a good home and that you were raised, which there's some truth to that, understood. But from her perspective, what she was saying was that you got to consider that in most cases, not all, but in most cases with an adoption situation or an adopted situation, or even in some cases a foster situation, it is off the cuff of abandonment.
Yep.
It's off the cuff of being orphaned.
Yep.
Maybe the parents passed away. They perished in an accident, or
And they didn't have any family or
yeah,
to take the
there
child.
was no next of kin
Yeah.
who could take the child,
Yeah.
so the child ended up in foster care. Or watch this. We had an episode where we had attorneys on it, and they talked about wills, and they talked about,
Yes.
do you have your stuff in order? Because a biological parent is not necessarily guaranteed to get the children should something happen to the custodial parent.
That's correct.
So you don't know how a child can end up in foster care, or how they can end up in the system and need to be fostered or need to be adopted, right? So this lady was saying, not to cut you off, but this lady was just saying that there's a flip side even to adoption.
Yeah.
There's a flip side.
How do they
even
belong?
to-
What does that blend feel like? Or
Right.
is it a blend?
What's my story? What's my backstory? Who are my parents? Where did I come from?
Yeah.
Who, why am I this way?
And do
Why
I
have
fit
these
in?
ways?
Yeah.
Why do I shake my leg when I sit still? But I look around the house and nobody else does.
Too.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, at least in a blended household where the children have come from one of the parents that's in the blended dynamic, there's a bloodline that you can connect to.
So I guess we look at that. One of the an actress that I really admire, but now you're making me think really hard about what that looks like. The actress Angelina Jolie, she's really big on adoption. She adopts kids from other countries, and I applaud her seriously for that. But then she also had 3 biological children of her own. And I wonder, it would be so interesting to hear what that dynamic felt like, because I believe she adopted first and then brought in and then started having her own children. So does that change? How do you balance that? Do the kids feel a different way? They look different. They speak a different language. You nurtured your own kids, from birth. And even though you had some of them when they were babies, but there is a difference. You couldn't nurse them. You couldn't give them this. You couldn't. My skin looks completely different. My culture is completely different. How do you continue to allow me to be authentically myself through my identity through you?
Right.
Because what I would love to hear that, because I believe
So y'all tag Angelina.
her daughter
in the comments.
Her daughter's also, she goes to Spelman.
Listen, Atlanta, when you Angelina, do me a favor, Miss Jolene.
I would love
when
that,
you
but-
when you come down to Spelman, swing by the My Dope Billionaire
no.
House and have a conversation with us, please. So we're gonna ask you a couple of questions.
It's interesting, no, seriously, because I've listened to her speak. I mean, she's so eloquent in how she speaks and what she says, and I can literally see the love exude from her when she talks about her children. But she also has a story of her own, growing up in the industry and her parents, and I believe they split. Oh, it just would be very interesting to see how that all came about and her love for, adoption and how she brought them all together and does that
Right.
is that a blend for you,
Right.
or is that
Or is that
just
conflict?
it's that conflict? I would just love that. But anyway,
We're gonna get on the show. You laughing, and I'm serious.
but also in that I look at, my husband loves movies, ladies, like y'all love movies, and I do too. We kind of, that's one of the things that we have about each other that we can kind of go off of. But there was a show, two shows in particular, one in old school that we all love, Different World. And do you remember when they had the adoption fair, and Freddie was so big on wanting that child to be adopted, and he was crazy about Freddie, but Freddie was hiding him in her dorm room and all that stuff, and she couldn't adopt him. She was in college. If she could, she would. If she could have kidnapped him, she probably would have, and I probably would have done the same thing. But then she had a professor who they wanted to have children, and they were looking at adoption as being an option, but they wanted a baby,
Right.
not an older child, which happens quite often. And that
is more
child,
often.
and that child is left out there and trying to prove themselves as worthy of being chosen. Like, what heavy weight on a child. Please choose me, to love me, to take me in. And Freddie got upset with her professor because she was like, how dare you want a child when this kid, when people have their own wants and needs for whatever reasons that they have them. But I think it also showed her love for, hey, it may not always look this way, but you can love him just as you love that baby. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's what most people say when they talk about the adoption process. The average couple that wants to adopt wants a baby. And it's because in most cases, the I guess I'll say
I have a perception on that, but I'm gonna let you say what you
well, it's because with the older children now, the things have started showing up. Like
the ways they're
their ways, and also they've now had time to process the fact that I don't have parents. They've been able to process the fact that I'm in foster care or I'm in the system or things like that. So now when they come into the picture, they're old enough to have grasped certain things that now the adopted parent they got to deal with that. They have to psychologically explain, oh, you're my love child.
That was not, see, that's
the
the angle I'm coming from, because to me, when you bring in a baby, sometimes people can take that on as not manipulation, but
they're more impressionable.
This is molding, and you are, you mine. I don't have to, or I don't ever have to say where you really came from, especially if we have things that are kind of similar, and you're not questioning. So it's just like, what does that truly look like? Because at some point, you're right, a child will see the difference, be it in their personality, be in the way they speak, be in some interest that they may have. Something will be pulled out of them to say, wait, it doesn't connect completely if I don't already know. Am I truly a part of this family? Am I blending with you all? And if so, where does that leave me? Do I bring in who I am as well, or do I have to curtail myself to who you are? Is that my blend, being what you want me to be, or my blend is being me into what you also have created me to be?
Who is me?
Who is me?
I know that's not grammatically correct, but
who I am. Who is me? Who is me?
Who I am.
Who I be? Who I be?
and that is the dynamic that people don't consider That's the point of what the young lady was kinda say on
Yeah, on social media, which
she was just saying that people don't consider the flip side of the adoption process, the foster process. There's a story. I was brought into the system for a reason.
yeah,
My parents are in jail. Well, my mama had me while she was in jail.
yeah.
I never met my mom.
Mhm.
Or I was abandoned, or that my parents died, or
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Woo, this comes a little this is a little more different, but sometimes you have inner what's the word? Interwoven, interconnected situations within families, especially back in the past,
Mhm.
where, the sister would have the baby, but,
Oh, and then
then the
the mama would
grandmother would
would
raise
raise
the
the child.
baby like it
Madea,
was their child, but it was really it's your sister,
what movie
it's your
was that?
sister son, it's your sister daughter, it's your, like
Yeah.
what, so it's just so
Many different layers.
scenarios and layers that
Mhm.
could lead to the conversation of what is the true dynamic of an adopted blended family dynamic? What is the true dynamic of a foster blended family? What happens when they're, like you mentioned, Angelina Jolie, and she had, biological children?
Yeah.
What happens when they are foster children and then they are biological children? What happens when they're adopted children and then they are biological children?
Yep.
Because you have some people where they couldn't have children.
Right, and
And then they turn
that's their
around and
the
but no, I'm
yeah,
saying then they
adopt
turn around and adopt
and
and they're
have a
not able to
child.
conceive.
Mhm.
So now
I
you
that
have,
happens a lot.
yeah, it does.
Yep.
And I think about, you mentioned the fact I'm a movie buff. I am a movie buff. There's a movie that came out years ago called Losing Isaiah.
Yes.
It was
Ooh.
Halle Berry
Mhm.
and Sam Jackson
Oh,
and what's I can't think of the main actress. Forgive me. Um, but basically, she was a
it's
nurse
gonna
and
come.
worked in the NICU, and Halle Berry had
Wait,
the
I have to
baby,
pull. I gotta.
and she was a she was addicted to drugs.
Let's
She
see.
have she has Isaiah, and I want to say she had him in a crack house, and she ends up somehow or another. Isaiah ends up in a NICU, and a white nurse,
Jessica Lange.
Jessica Lange, thank you. She ends up caring for Isaiah. She ends up bringing Isaiah into her family dynamic.
You
She
just.
has a daughter already. She
Mhm.
and her husband were already on not the best of terms, you know what I'm saying? So you bring a new child into this dynamic. And
Who is
then,
the addict, basically.
right, he's a crack baby, as
Mhm.
the term that they use a lot of times, colloquially, they call them crack babies. So in this case, Isaiah was a crack baby. He has a baby, brings him home, brings him into their family dynamic. They fall in love. They have their ins and outs. Then they start to fall in love with Isaiah. The daughter feels away. Well, then here comes Halle Berry. She gets herself together.
Mhm.
She wants to get her son back. Then you got the whole piece of, should a black child be with a white family? Should it just, that creates conflict. That creates, well, how is this child gonna be brought up? And this is their reality right here. And the mother was on drugs, and now she's getting her life together. She deserves to have the child back. Kylie Berry comes along, she takes the child back, she gets the child back. Now the white family is having withdrawals. And now the biological daughter feels like mama's somewhere sobbing and grieving over the fact that
Isaiah's
the
gone.
adopted you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just just builds so much tension that is not considered a lot of times in the adopted and in the foster.
So blending
Dynamic.
is not just about bonus families. It's every time you love steps in and says, the question is, do you belong here?
Mm,
Do you belong? Do we belong? Do we belong?
yeah,
In that situation, do you belong? Because at the end, they had to realize that they belong together, but in a
right.
co-parenting
That's correct.
situation.
That's true. They did. They ended
Because Isaiah needed both of
That's
them.
correct.
You know,
'Cause he had grown
he had grown
to Jessica
attached to
Lange,
Jessica
the
Lange,
sister and the dad.
but he
Yeah.
needed to identify himself
Mhm,
through
mhm,
Haley Berry,
mhm,
Holly Berry, to
mhm,
understand who he was and where he came
yeah,
from.
mhm,
And it's an interesting thing because, you know, if we watch the story as it unfolds, as he gets older, it would be beautiful to see, because then it would be like, okay, I became this crack baby because of you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
That's
then
true.
then she rescued me from you. You know, it's so
Yeah.
many
Yeah.
angles you can look at
Okay,
it.
that's good.
Yeah, you
You
know,
need to losing Isaiah too.
you can look at it, you know, and in that, you know, she could come back, mom could come back and say, yes, but you were taken
Yeah.
from me. I didn't know. I was out of my mind. You know, had I once I came back to myself,
Yeah.
immediately my heart longed for
Yeah,
you.
because I want to say she had put him in a trash
She put him in the
can,
trash
and
because she was hurt.
hurricane rescue,
Yeah.
and then she went back
And
looking
then she
for him.
went back
It's like,
looking
that's
for
the
me.
whole
So
point.
it's so many different layers, because it wasn't her. It was the drug in her that took him from her. It was so many things. So, and then when you have situations like that video that we're talking about, I believe she was taken from another country. So she was taken from her, all what she knew, everything she knew, not even just a house. You brought me to the United States of America. I don't know this country, ain't nobody in it. I don't have anybody to identify myself through, because I'm not home. This is not home for me. This is a place that you're telling me I have to make my home.
Yeah.
So in that, I am dealing with abandonment in so many different ways. But yet you want me to feel good about the fact that you chose me. I should be thanking you. But at the same time, I'm wondering, like, what?
And not even
I should be thanking you?
not even necessarily the direction of vertically, like not
okay,
even not even so much of having the issue with the person that adopted. I
No,
think
it's a situation.
and I think that her perspective and all the others, that if you because we went down a rabbit hole of people who feel the same way. Like, adoption is not all what people crack up to be. Like, y'all try to make us feel bad about feeling a way about being adopted, when in all actuality we don't know who we are. We're trying to find ourselves with each other. We were brought into a situation that we didn't ask for. We didn't ask to be adopted. We didn't ask to be adopted into this family. We didn't choose this family. This family chose us. You know what I'm saying? So you got all those pieces, and that's what these people were saying. Like, there is a flip side. There is a flip side to it all. So she wasn't necessarily saying, I'm supposed to be appreciative of you for adopting me.
Right. I'm just
But she was saying to the people, like, y'all want to put on me that I'm being ungrateful
yeah.
when I say that I feel away
And
about
as
being adopted.
and she said what brought that to realization was about her becoming a mom
Right. She had her own children.
of her own, you know? And it made her look at that, you know, like, wow. And now that we're talking more about it, I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm gonna do a part 2 on that, because I do have someone that I believe would be a great person to talk to us about what that feels like and what that looks like, because they are adopted.
Yeah.
And you know, but and even in this situation has tried to reach out to their biological parents, and their biological parents don't want anything to do with them,
Sure.
which hurts even the more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, why you now?
Yeah.
That goes back to another episode that we talk about why you don't want me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Why?
Yeah.
I'm coming to you. I want to know you.
Right.
Your blood runs through my veins, but yet you put me here, and you don't.
And for some, it's a reminder, like, facing you. And then I say, you're going to face, you are going to be confronted with the past in some way.
In some way, yes.
So the question is, how will you show up to that confrontation? Right. So it's like, for some parents did it because they needed to. Listen, everybody don't need to be parents. We all know some children.
I want y'all to come to that realization.
We all know some children that have come from parents who you look and say they didn't need them children.
No, when that's not your
People
call.
did not need those children. They need to. Don't send them my way, but send them somewhere where somebody will take better care of them. We all know some parents who shouldn't be parents. We all know some parents who shouldn't be parents. And so,
Especially the ones talking about rehome. What the?
and so in
You
those
don't need to have
cases,
nobody in your home.
you know what I'm saying? I think that we can all agree that there are circumstances where adoption is the better option.
Oh, absolutely.
And,
Absolutely.
allowing
And those are
to,
hard,
but
breaking situations.
but then But that is a decision that's made on behalf, again, of the parent who feels like, I'm not fit, I'm not in a position to be able to make the best provision for you or to be able to provide the best home for you or the best lifestyle for you. So I feel like this is the best way for me to do it. So then you have the parents who had the best intentions.
Yeah.
It doesn't change the fact that the child is going to, at some point in time, come to the realization that I'm different than these people that I'm around. It's something, I love them. It's a great home. You did put me in a better situation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I did grow up in a better circumstance in many cases. Woe unto the ones, unfortunately, that have the opposite testimony where they grew up in
It's horrible.
opposite, right, and foster care where they're being perpetrated on it, which I saw that as well when I worked
I was
as
just
a
about to
behavior,
say,
behavior aide.
back to, I literally, while you was talking, a movie came to mind. I cannot remember the name of it, but he was a boy. Sean Connery was in the movie with him as a poet and a professor, and
I'm finding Forrester.
Finding Forrester.
Or it was either that or
Something
Bobby
like that.
Fischer. One of them was something Bobby Fischer, one was Finding
He
Forrester.
was in a foster situation, but he was abused, and he longed for his biological family, who at one point he thought would turn away from them. But it wasn't necessarily the biological parent that took him in. It was his biological family that said, "We, just as you've been looking for us, some of us been wondering where were you?"
Yeah, it's a lot of times too.
But
Antoine Fisher.
Antoine Fisher. But the thing about it is, I remember a very specific scene when when his grandmother said, "Come on." He walked through the door. He said hi, and she said, "Come here, baby."
That was Antoine Fisher.
Was it Antoine? And he walked through the house.
That was Antoine
with
Fisher.
the girlfriend. Was Sean Connery in that?
No.
No. We talking about the same. We talking about the same movie. It was a professor that helped him.
Right, I remember Finding Forrester.
I'm pulling it up because now I'm trying to explain something.
Antoine Fisher walked into the grandmother who welcomed him in.
I hate when you do that.
Okay. Find it.
Oh my God!
Wow,
I'm trying to make it a great point, and you just messed the whole thing up.
Find Forrester.
Oh my God, this is ridiculous.
Find Forrester. And I'm telling you that it was Antoine Fisher whose grandmother welcomed him into the room, and they had pancakes and a whole spread of food.
No, it was Finding Forrester that welcomed. I'm looking at it right now.
Go ahead.
And what was the other movie?
Antoine Fisher, where he walked in with his girlfriend.
Antoine Fisher had
with Derek Luke and Denzel Washington.
Yes, I remember that.
Okay, grandma.
Either way, the grandmother's family welcomed him with open
I never saw the end of Finding Forrester. I'm gonna watch Finding Forrester after this episode, and I promise you, if there's no grandmother and if there's no welcome in, we're gonna come back to this.
Y'all, we didn't
watch Finding Forrester.
Now we was having a deep conversation about.
It was deep until you started putting music together.
You know this is ridiculous.
Y'all gonna do it for me?
You know this is horrible.
I'm glad y'all see this because if we were home, she would. I feel like she found out the truth, y'all. If y'all go back and look at her face, I feel like she found out the truth, but they didn't want to admit it. I really do feel like that's what happened.
Can we go back to the show?
Patreon. We don't have a Patreon, but my dope grand community. When we come back to y'all, the Bonus Club, I want y'all to join the community today.
Like I said,
and I'm gonna let you know what movie is. I'm gonna let you go back to your point.
Oh my God. The family was happy to welcome the child.
Fisher's family.
Okay? And the grandmother. And then when he walked.
Fisher's grandmother.
And when he walked through the door, the uncles and the aunts and
Antoine Fisher's uncles and aunts.
You know what? I'm not talking about it no more.
And they had pancakes.
God bless that.
They had a whole
whatever
spread.
movie it was, it worked.
She found out that it was not Finding Forrester.
This is ridiculous.
I hope y'all saw that on her face, but she'll never admit it. This is how we are at home. She'll swear up and down something.
Are we gonna keep going there? Or are we gonna talk about?
Are you gonna apologize?
Let's apologize for.
Okay, let's stay on topic.
You gonna get adopted too. You gonna be.
Guess what?
You gonna be rehomed.
Guess what?
He gonna be rehomed.
I got news for you.
Rehomed.
I got news for
Okay.
you. I got news for you.
Okay.
I'm adopted into the family.
Rehomed.
We are children of the Most High God.
Well, anyway.
Understanding and believe His word.
Why do we always have
Get something in your hand. Johnny McClurkin said, get something in your hand. Whoa! I am adopted
I don't find
into the family.
humorous.
I'm walking in authority, living life without apology. It's not wrong here. Why? Because I belong here. So you might as well get used to me. Nah.
I really want to rehome you right now. Like for real. Like for real. Like go to the adoption fairs and get rehomed. Please. You can go to one at PetSmart and just go. Go. This is ridiculous. Come on. We talking about something serious and you make it was
serious. I was just trying to make sure that you quoted the right movie.
Oh my goodness. But
You start
guys,
talking about movies,
anyway, you know, honestly and truly, you know, I would really love to hear more about, for those who are listening that have had this experience, have been adopted or in foster or know someone in foster care. I believe it's going to be really good to have a part 2 on this one, because I want to hear from someone. I want someone to tell us about their experience, how it affected them as a child. And I really want it to be, you know, if I can get a male, female, that would be great. But how it affects them as an adult. Has it affected them? Or have they, you know, basically washed it under the rug or become numb to it? They don't even want to talk about it. Do they have their own family? And how do they go about being a parent to their child now? What does that look like for them? Do they intentionally do things differently because of what they did not have or what they did have? You know, I just want to pull at them on that. And I think it would be good to hear, because you and I haven't had that experience. We know through other people, but it will be very good to have someone share their experiences. So I think that would be good. You know, rehome.
I think we should have a movie night.
Y'all, I love y'all. Y'all, I love y'all. But see, this is why.
We're gonna watch 2 movies. It's gonna be a double feature.
This is
It'll be Pride and Forrester with Sean Connery. It's gonna be Antoine Fisher with Denzel Washington starring Derek Lewis.
And then this whole My Dope Blend gonna be called My Broken Blend Divorced Part 2. And Greg Kirkland has been rehomed into another house with probably another wife.
We exhausted this conversation.
We probably have, because you keep going on and on and on. But anyway, guys, no, seriously, I think it's important to understand that, you know, yes, when you are in a foster situation or a adoption situation, it is still blended. You are blending past, you are blending cultures, you are blending personalities, you are blending all of those things. And it's really something when you are dealing with interracial things. Because that adds another layer to it, especially when you see an African-American child with Caucasian parents. You know, people look at them differently. People respond to them differently. People have their own viewpoints on what that really looks like. You know, you don't know the history, but how can a Caucasian mother and father parent a Black child? You don't know what our culture represents or not. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that's people's opinions. And the flip side, you know, but at the same time, a lot of people look at us from a viewpoint of, you know, can you also foster in a Caucasian child? Yet our culture has seemed to be more nurturing. You know, so there's so many ways to. No, let's not go down that. But there's ways. But people look at our culture from that standpoint. It's more nurturing. So yeah, that looks more normal. The flip side, you know, it's just so many things. That
conversation is deeper and deeper.
It goes so deep.
In 2026, now you have same-sex marriages
Absolutely.
that are adopting children.
And what does that mean? All of that. I would love that.
So this conversation it needs a part 2.
It does, and we will have it.
Yeah.
So for those who are listening, I hope, you know, at least we've touched the surface on fostering and adoption, but this is not a conversation that's going to end in this episode. We're going to keep going with it because I think it's going to help a lot of people, and it's going to then open the door for other topics of conversation, as you just pointed out. So, guys, I love y'all. Y'all love me? Can't hear it, but for those listening,
I love you.
I love you too. He don't want to be rehomed. That's why he's saying that right now. I'm not gonna rehome you, at least not right now. But
Okay.
but no, I love you guys. I hope we have, been I don't even know. I can't even tell you, but I hope you guys have found some humor in this episode, even when I was trying to be serious.
Some humor and some
Yes.
some nuggets, some jewels, some things, some food for thought.
For food for thought.
Pancakes.
So pancakes and all that, and
all the other things.
And in the process of that, we're trying to bridge the hearts together.
Bridging hearts.
Which
Before
I do have a book saying bridge
all the things.
all of the things. So, but
Make sure that you follow.
Yes.
Make sure that you like, that you subscribe, that you share, turn your notifications on.
Yes.
Make sure that you join the bonus club. Visit www.myadultblend.com. You can go to Let's Blend and you can join the bonus club. And that's where we're going to be sharing more things like when is the movie night. We're going to put all those things inside of the bonus club community so that you can meet us there. Don't meet us there, beat us there. A private showing, Finding Forrester and Antoine Fisher.
Oh, you guys so below the belt right now. Love y'all. Keep blending because I'm going to hurt him. Y'all better pray that he don't get rehome. Love y'all.
I'll be here.
All right.